Vincent and Cassandra moved into the old house on the outskirts of town with hopes of a fresh start for their children, Jack and Sally. The worn wooden floors creaked beneath their feet as they entered, and the air was heavy with the scent of decay. Despite its eerie appearance, Vincent assured his family that this was the perfect place to call home. At first, everything seemed normal. They unpacked their belongings, decorated the rooms, and settled into their new lives. But as the days turned into weeks, strange occurrences began to unfold. Night after night, the bedrooms of Jack and Sally transformed into twisted realms of terror. As the clock struck midnight, whispers would slither from the darkness, coiling around their minds like serpents, filling their dreams with visions of unspeakable horror. Shadows danced across the walls, taking on sinister shapes that seemed to leer and taunt them with their malevolent presence. Jack would awaken to the sensation of icy fingers tracing along his skin, sending shivers coursing down his spine. He would hear his name whispered on the wind, a chilling voice that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. No matter how tightly he squeezed his eyes shut, the specters of his nightmares refused to release their grip on his subconscious, tormenting him until the first light of dawn chased them away. Meanwhile, Sally would find herself ensnared in a web of nightmares, each more terrifying than the last. She would hear the creak of floorboards outside her door, followed by the sound of soft footsteps approaching her bed. Shadows would coalesce into the form of twisted creatures, their eyes burning with malice as they reached out to claim her as their own. Despite their pleas for help, Cassandra dismissed their fears as nothing more than overactive imaginations run wild. She would tuck them back into bed with soothing words and gentle caresses, assuring them that there was nothing to fear in the safety of their home. But Vincent knew better. He could feel the oppressive weight of the darkness that lingered in the air, a palpable presence that seemed to watch their every move with malevolent intent. As the nights wore on and the terrors grew more intense, Cassandra remained oblivious, but Vincent's unease turned to dread. He knew that they were not alone in the house, that something sinister lurked in the shadows, waiting to claim its next victim. And when Jack witnessed the spirit snatch Sally from her bed, his worst fears were realized, plunging their family into a nightmare from which there may be no escape. Panic seized Vincent and Cassandra as they searched frantically for their daughter, their voices echoing through the empty halls of the house. Each room they entered seemed to hold secrets of its own, whispering of the horrors that lay hidden within. Finally, they stumbled upon a hidden door concealed behind a tapestry in the attic. With trembling hands, Vincent pushed it open, revealing a chamber bathed in darkness. The stench of decay hung heavy in the air as they stepped inside, their hearts pounding with dread. There, in the heart of the hidden chamber, sat Sally, a tragic figure amidst the darkness. Her once rosy cheeks were now gaunt and sunken, her lips drained of color. Her trembling form was wrapped in tattered remnants of her nightgown, a stark contrast to the vibrant clothing she had worn just days before. As she huddled against the cold stone wall, her eyes, once filled with laughter and curiosity, were now vacant and hollow, reflecting the torment she had endured. The room itself seemed to pulsate with malevolent energy, casting long, twisting shadows that danced across the walls. The air was thick with the scent of decay, a sickly sweet aroma that clawed at their throats with every breath. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like funeral shrouds, veiling the horrors that lay within. Surrounding Sally were the mummified remains of those who had fallen victim to the spirit's insatiable hunger. Their twisted forms were frozen in poses of agony, their features contorted into grotesque masks of terror. Some still clutched toys or blankets, remnants of the lives they had once known before they were consumed by the darkness. Vincent and Cassandra stood frozen in horror as they took in the scene before them, the weight of their realization pressing down on them like a suffocating blanket. The truth was undeniable. The spirit that haunted their home was not merely a restless ghost, but a soul eater, a creature of pure malevolence that fed on the innocence of children to sustain its twisted existence. Their daughter, their sweet Sally, had become its latest victim, her life force drained away to fuel its insatiable appetite. And as they gazed upon her frail form, a sense of dread washed over them, knowing that they had unwittingly brought their family into the clutches of a darkness far more sinister than they could have ever imagined. With tears streaming down his face, Vincent gathered Sally into his arms, vowing to never let her go again. But as they fled the accursed house, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were leaving behind more than just memories. For in the shadows, something stirred, hungering for the next unsuspecting family to call the old house their home. And as the door closed behind them, it whispered a chilling promise of eternal torment and forgotten souls.